Hello, my friend. I am so thankful and happy to have you for this episode, Why You Do Everything and Your Spouse Does Nothing, and How to Stop. And I want to encourage you that it might even be that you're like, hang on a second, I'm the one who does nothing. I notice my spouse is in the pattern of overdoing. You're in the right place. Either way, we are talking about family systems all month on the podcast, both here today and also on the Deeper Dive pod if you want to get even deeper into how to get this moving in a different direction. Because obviously we want as many tips as possible. And some of you want the precursor, which you're going to get here. And like I said, if you want a deeper dive, you can go to our Apple podcast where you can get it as a free subscriber episode. Everybody gets one of those, or you can subscribe for the month and say, I love family systems. I want to hear it all. That's up to you. And I am just happy to have you here because everybody needs this before the holidays, right? Or whenever you're listening, you're probably aware that your family is shifting around. And that's like the tectonic plates of people, right? We always shift. We're always growing. It's hopefully never too boring. And today I want to help you if you're in an overfunctioning, underfunctioning dance. Many of you know that before I did Enneagram coaching, and even during this whole experience in time, I have been owning my counseling center as well as have my basic training in my marriage and family therapy license degree. That's where I thought I would be going. And then we moved from Illinois to Michigan and then to Florida. And you know, things change across states and seasons of life. And I couldn't be happier than where I am with this perfect fit of coaching across the world now, not just in the state of Florida or something. But what I love and never want to forget is that we're not just an internal family system where we each have different parts, although that's true too. And that's a very popular concept. We're also with other people in actual systems, and we are doing a lot of moving and shifting around in these relationships. So today I'm going to help you get stable right here, right now, give you some very practical tips. And also just a quick reminder before we start that we really had fun making a PDF for you for Advent. We're going to be starting talking about it on December 1st, but make sure you get on our email list. It's our freebie right now. It is our lead magnet, meaning if you give us your email in exchange for that, you're getting a really beautiful document that Hannah and Melody and I designed for you to walk through with as much peace, joy, and love as you can this whole holiday season. I am so thankful and excited to get to walk this journey with you through the season, and especially, of course, also with Wes, so that he and I can maintain that glow all holiday long, knowing there'll be ups and downs, but that we're going to maintain our bond through those ups and downs. And that's what you're going to do too with your spouse. So I'm excited for you. It was emailed to you today 2 times if you are on our email list, both when we sent out this podcast as well as just as a regular on its own email. And I'm including that Wednesday, every single week, we're going to go through this, as well as we're going to have a special Zoom date for you, me, whoever you want to bring. It's free. It's going to be Tuesday, December 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to walk this journey out together then too. So I hope you can join. Put it on your calendar. Tuesday, December 9th at 1 p.m. We're going to do just that, walk through some healthy ways that you guys can stop having the same arguments every single holiday. So yes, we have your backs here. We get it, have been there, done that, and have, I think, a lot of success in this area now. Doesn't mean we don't every now and again find our way back to that place, but we have the tools when we do. So I want to talk to you about not just like we did last time, the pursuer, distancer dance, where one partner is choosing connection and the other is pulling away. The other exhausting family pattern here that is, like I said, overfunctioning, underfunctioning. And here's how it exactly works. One partner takes that too much responsibility role, and the other partner does less than their share, underfunctions. And the more one overfunctions, the more the other underfunctions. And here's the crazy part. It's a reciprocal dance. The more you do this, you're creating each other's behavior. I have seen people do this in every area of life as my couples. I have a couple more sessions today. Bet you'll see it later too. But what I tend to see is that women tend to overfunction, men tend to underfunction. That is not always the case. I have many men clients who say, I am overfunctioning, Christa. I am tired in this marriage. I'm exhausted. I'm pulling us. And it has to do with Enneagram type 2. Not always, because we have these things called Enneagram instincts where we have our self-pres people, our sexual people, and our social people. And that can shift us around quite a bit too. Some of you know that's what I'm writing my book on. But I want to be clear that these are just guideposts in terms of your types. And you might very well be a type like, wait a second, you talked about my type in this one direction. I'm not quite there. I'm kind of the other. That's okay. If it's helpful, use it. If it isn't, don't worry about it. The big picture I want you to get is that this is common. It can happen in the area of finances, children. What else do I see it with a lot? I see it with finances a lot, kids a lot, of course, chores a lot. And other areas of life too. It can happen anywhere, but these are such big areas. And even I'll say one more, communication in general, right? We're always communicating, even about the things I just named, but even just communication itself, like, hey, can we talk like that person who does that? And so the overfunctioner ends up being the person to make all the decisions, the person who remembers everything, the person who's planning, organizing, managing. They're carrying the household, the parenting, the relationship. And guess what? They're feeling resentful and exhausted. And the underfunctioner is the one waiting to be told what to do, basically saying things like, I didn't know you needed help. What can I do? Almost like becomes the child to the parent, checks out, zones out, says yes, doesn't do it, capable, not activating the capacity, feeling criticized, but yet sometimes inadequate. And here's what matters, it's not a hero villain cycle. And some of us think it is, but there's underlying patterns at play most of the time. And I will leave that caveat for there are a few that I know of even right now where it is that, where it's somebody just truly being lazy. But most of the time, there are other dynamics, and it's just a dance that you're both doing. It starts fairly innocently. Like one person is maybe naturally organized in this way, so they start handling logistics. I know we can get in this pattern, but Wes and I try to go in areas where we both like. And that makes a big difference. If you're like, I kind of like overfunctioning in this way, and I'm not exhausting myself, and I know how to ask for help, then I think it's a lot more doable. But when you find yourself in it, you're resenting it, you're mad at your spouse, you're thinking of them as a child, you have to start narrating differently if you're going to try to keep doing it. I'm going to give you a for instance. I kind of like doing the planning in our home, but it's not on everything. And if I did, that would make Wes feel very bad if I was always planning his life. But instead, I like planning ours because I just remember things for everybody in the family. It's part of who I am, where I'll be like, oh no, you have that this day. And it's not like it's 100%, but it's even without my calendar, most of the time it's kind of in my mind as this is an important day. So why wouldn't I want to give that gift to my family, right? But when it becomes this thing where people are like, oh, I'm not going to keep my own schedule because what am I doing today? That really would cause me resentment. And so you have to talk it out within yourselves of what works and what strategy makes sense. Maybe you're really good at financing. Maybe you're really good at planning meals and you like it, or date nights and you love it. But it can get to that unhealthy control level. And so that's the issue, is when one person is happy to do it and the other person is, you wouldn't even be listening to this pod. You'd be like, we're good. But when you're like, no, I'm listening because we're in this and we don't like it, that's where I want you leaning in and just noticing this is really about you guys changing the pattern, changing the family system to go back to big picture family systems thinking. So the over functioning person is thinking, if I don't do it, it won't get done right. The other one's thinking they have it handled. If I do it, I'll probably mess it up. But underneath, like I said, you're not getting it really clear. You're not getting it really done well because of these underlying feelings. So when that's happening, notice by type twos, ones, threes, sixes, these can all technically and traditionally be overfunctioning. Even though I labeled myself as one of them, it's not in every area and it's my sixth wing. So just, you might even be like, oh yeah, I'm not a one, but I go to one in stress or something. But anyway, you overfunction by either helping or taking charge or achieving, performing, managing, planning for every contingency. And then eights can do this as well, where they really just lead everything and dominate and can be over a family versus feeling like they're even part of it because they're over functioning even on a greater level. So that's why I'm including them a little separately. And then, of course, the under functioning other four types could be your nines, your five, your fours, and your sevens, who might say, I'm going to take that child role. I'm going to just go along, get along, withdraw, wait for somebody to bring me. And again, any type can get into any of these roles, but what I want you to notice is, which one are you in, right? Which one are you in? Is it affecting your dynamic and stress level? That's really, really, really important to look at. And just think about it for a moment. And I'm going to give you a quick window into breaking the pattern. And like I said, on the deeper dive pod today, I'll do an even deeper dive on breaking the pattern, but I'm going to give you the tools today. So the overfunctioner, what I want you to do is stop. Stop doing so much. Create space for your partner to step up. Let things be imperfect. Somebody actually frantically texted me today to say, hey, there's a lot going on. I'm overwhelmed. You know the story. I'm not going to share their story. And I was just reminded, because we can all get that way. And I'm like, breathe, ground yourself, put your back on something and just lay back and allow yourself to have 5 breaths in, 5 breaths out. If you're part of my collective membership group, you know we did that last week. We practiced that together and it was very helpful. We had 3 different breath patterns going and I did some more of them this week. And just really let yourself have some breath and say, okay, I'm slowing down. I'm creating space. It doesn't mean I won't do my job, but I am going to set some boundaries so that I can stop and stop resenting. And when that hits me, when I am in that over planning mode, it actually feels good to just say, you know what? I need a rest. This is a lot. And even though I generally like to do it, I do need somebody to step in with some plans. And then if you're the underfunctioner, start doing without being asked. Notice what needs to happen and do it. Don't wait for instructions. And here's the thing, you might get a correction and you guys might have to work on a very basic marriage concept, which is to give a lot of encouragements around any critiques you may have. So let's say you're the overfunctioner and your underfunctioning spouse. You put this podcast to them and they're listening and they're now trying to step in and help and they get 1 or 2 things wrong. Well, first, I want you guys to remember the healthy pattern would be to really just blow that wisp of hope on, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that you did this for us. Like, I see it. You're doing a beautiful job. Thank you so much. This is an awesome way for you to help our family. Here's what would be more helpful next time. And I do that with Wes all the time. And I try to actually not do it so much to where I'm saying I do it all the time, but sometimes I do. And it's just we have a lot going on and I'll be like, okay, like he did this, but it just didn't feel quite right. But I always try to remember the narrative. Like he did something even this week where he had made something for our Supper Sleuth website. And I was like, you did something really good. You were making changes. And maybe they weren't always the changes that I wanted, but you were making changes. That's beautiful. And it was seen and taken with happiness because it was like, hey, we're moving in the right direction with something that we both like. And this was a place where you can see I had an opinion. I wasn't really leading on it anyway. We were kind of both under functioning in that. And then he decided to step in and there was a bit of a critique. Sometimes that's me where he's like, hey, you know, when we were leading the C.S. Lewis study and that's over now, it was really cool. And he was really good at leading it. And there would be moments where I'm like, okay, what can I do? And he's like, you know what? Actually, what you can do is let me lead here. This is my bread and butter. I love it. And I'm like, yeah, actually, yes. And I did the Enneagram and marriage study last time and I led that one and it helped me to see our roles a little differently. And I think when you can do that and say, there are places and spaces and times that I can do this, yes, and overfunction a little, but we're agreed on it. And then there are other times when I see my partner doing it. Guys, that's the golden space of marriage when you can see yourselves thriving and even picking up patterns that are useful without resentment. And also knowing when I'm ready to stop, I will. And you'll also encourage me along the way. Where it gets really ugly, and this is so hurtful, I've seen it so many times, is where couples will actually have really nightmarish situations hit them where one of them will stop working altogether, not being a teammate, not helping, just doing something all day themselves, reading their favorite book all day, not hanging out with their spouse, just giving them no attention, playing video games all day, sleeping in all the time, not helping with kids, just really unattractive behaviors that are going to hurt that sexual desire, the self-pres desire, the social desire. And it just doesn't do your spouse any favors, doesn't do your family any favors. And this is honestly, I've also seen people overfunction in one area and then completely underfunction in their relationship. So maybe they're doing amazing at work and now all of a sudden, because they've put 0 love tokens in their love bank, they've got another person come up and be attracted to them and they're like, oh, I'm ready for you because I have put 0 tokens in my love bank and here's a perfect breeding grounds for an affair. An overfunctioning spouse who is carrying all the home load, all the mental load for them, all the emotional load. All they were doing was working and then all this extra time to twiddle their thumbs. And now they're like, okay, I was tempted and that idle time really did not bless me. And quite honestly, they're with me now as working with me, like, help me get out of this awful cycle. I don't want to break up my family. And so you can see how overfunctioning and underfunctioning could be pretty healthy or it could be pretty disastrous. So I want you to look at your system, see where you're perhaps doing well with, hey, I function a little more here, they function a little more here. And if you happen to see any areas that need to be tweaked, take my advice and stop doing it. Please know that it will be so worthwhile to take that advice and to do that deep breath as you need and to allow some healthy accommodations and gentleness and kindness, but also occasionally, hey, here's a little, I know you thought you were going to pick up the kid at 4, but it was actually 4:30. Thank you so much. We go in, this is how we do it. Whatever you need to tell them, say it with love, surround it with joy, and come into gladness that they're trying to break out of this unhealthy pattern with you. I promise you that will bless you. So don't forget to check your email or get on our email list at enneagramandmarriage.com so you can get our PDF for you all about Advent. And don't forget to join us on December 9th, Tuesday, 1 p.m. for a free Zoom. I cannot wait to see you there. And also make sure that you check out our Deeper Dive podcast today if you want to go even further with me here on this very topic. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you again for listening with us. It was so wonderful to have you. I love knowing we're doing this journey together, not perfectly, but with love, grace, and hopefully some fun too. If you loved today's episode, make sure you leave us a 5-star review at Apple Podcast or Spotify so others can find it too. Visit our show notes so you can get all the links from today's show, as well as enneagramandmarriage.com, the Instagram, the Facebook, and all over the place. Make sure you spread the word. Love living intentionally with you. Bye-bye.